Hello everybody, my name is K-Hug, you can call me Kyler, and welcome back, or welcome to my survival series of PalWorld, a game of crafting tools and weapons, designing and building custom bases, taming and breeding mysterious creatures, and exploring the vast world to take on bosses, foes, and other creatures. This game is undeniably incredible, but that is enough of the sales pitch. Let's get right into today's video, and that is going to be taming and breeding. Yes, we're going to change the way that this series kind of works, and I'm going to kind of treat it as a Let's Play series along with a learning series, where I'm going to teach you about the ins and outs about little nuances inside the game of PalWorld. And today is the breeding, because we've already done quite a bit here. We are pretty high level. We've gathered quite a few of these pals, and we've got a lot of automation going. You can see we've got about 2,000 wood in here, another 1,200 stone. You know, we're doing well. Things are going well for us. Plenty of resources wise, but what we haven't done is really focused on this breeding. And I have done some breeding off camera, not gonna lie, had to practice somewhere. And what I have done is I bred the logging 3 foreman and the mining foreman, which gives me mining efficiency in both logging and mining separately, and combined them to get this tansy right here. We got logging foreman, mining foreman, but it also gave it Zen Mine and Serious, which is kind of cool. I need to look into what those do, but I have a work slave, and an artisan, which means he really loves doing his job. So if I can get these two to combine together to have the ultimate tansy, we'll be able to get a couple of those guys throughout our base, and they'll be able to automate all of our processes. Now, I do want to quickly look at what does Zen Mine do. Attack damage, we don't care. Sirius is also work speed, so he's going to be one heck of a worker. He's already at 84, and oh, that's just 84 to 20%. But he does only have level 1 in a lot of these aspects. Now, the only reason I chose a tansy because I think it's cute and adorable, and that's what I want. That's what I'm going to do. There is way better pals to use for these resources and for base automation, and I'm going to take you through that in this episode. Now, first and foremost, we need to let these guys cook up. We'll wait till one egg is done, which is weird that a monkey lays an egg. It's not how that works in real life. Sorry to all you biology people out there. Yes, I'm aware monkeys don't lay eggs, but once this is laid, we'll be able to start incubating it, and then I'll head out and I will start gathering some other guys that we can combine together. Now, that sounds bizarre. Believe me, it's about as bizarre as it sounds. There's a system in which you can breed 2 different types of pals. Let's make sure we're locked in here so we don't get stuck. 2 different types of pals and output a third, I guess. So the one that I have learned that is super cool is about a level 30 a pal, and that is creating an Anubis. Now, I know how to create an Anubis, and so that's what we're going to do, but I also want to create my second favorite pal in this game. And that is going to be the Gorat. It is a larger sized ape. These things are like little chipmunks. Not chipmunks, little chimpanzees. Not even chimpanzees. These are those little thumb monkeys. Those little monkeys the size of your thumb. That's what I think these things are. The Gorarats look more like a chimpanzee. And so I really, you know what, I'm just kind of a fan of monkeys. I don't know why. It's just my thing. And so we're going to stick on the primate branch, and we're going to go get ourselves some Gorarats this episode. Now, when discussing Gorarat, it is, I believe it's how you say it, G-O-R-I-R-A-T. When discussing Gorarats, there is many combinations. Now, again, I know that sounds weird, but the ones I do know, ooh, we got some collectors here. Again, cannot stress enough how good these Vixies are at just producing stuff. The Gorarats can be crafted in one of these ways. So get your pen and paper out, write these down. If you want to go capture a Gorat, they're around level 20-ish, so they're a little difficult to capture depending on your level. Maybe 23. I think average 23. Anyways, you can combine a Fuddler, that is the little mole rat guy, with a Celeray, that's the manta ray looking thing. You can also combine a Ruby and a Capridy, a Woolly Pop and a Alpaca. There is so many combinations. A Ruby and a deer. I don't even know what to call them. I'm calling them stags. They're ecthideer things. You can do a Chickapea and an Incineram. An Incineram and a Teefant. Or a Woolly Pop and a Dumund. That is a total of like 7, maybe 8 combinations, which is really bizarre. And so I think we're just gonna go try to capture some so we don't have to wait on the breeding process. And the only reason I'm doing this is, again, it is primate, it is primitive looking, and it does have level 3 transportation, which these little monkeys do not, but they're gonna be good for other aspects like just planting and doing some things like that. So let's go find these Gora rats in the wild, in the flesh, in the blood. Let's make sure we've got enough orbs. Looks like we might need to make, wow, we have 189 regular pal spheres. Let's make some more larger pal spheres. Let's see how many of these mega spheres can we make. We probably don't need 90. Let's go with 30. Let's go with 30, start these. Do we have somebody in our inventory? Who's in our wheelhouse? Do we have anybody who's good at crafting things? Doesn't appear so. I'm gonna head over here. Let's switch some guys out. This is where I really wish I had an Anubis, and Anubises have level 4 handiwork, which allows them to work really efficiently with you. Let me dig through here. Oh, we do have some Gora rats. We have 2 of them. Glutton and Unstable, that's not it. So we're gonna get some new ones. But what I do know is a Chillet. I think it's Chillet. I could be wrong. And some big blue dragon thing that we could get here relatively soon. Those 2 combined make a Nubi. Anubises. Sorry, Anubi sounded right. Kind of octopi, octopuses, octopi. Anyways, so I need to go ahead and get some guy that has handiwork. I got this guy. Don't know what he really does, so we're gonna put him away. Tombat, cool, not necessary. This is our fire guy. Let's go by level. Who do we have leveled up the most? Of course, we have a really high level Tansy. Let's go ahead and grab. You know what? These guys aren't working anymore. I'm gonna grab this Tansy. He's gonna become my backpack buddy. He is a little low level, so we gotta be careful with him. And real quick, we've got Positive Thinker. Let's see what that does. Sanity drops a little lower. That's fine. Do we have a good Celeray? If we've got a good Celeray, we might be able to actually go ahead and make a Gora rat with some pretty good stats. So we gotta have a good That's a pretty good Celeray. That one there, that's for player attack damage only. Maybe not that necessary for this series, or for this episode at least. And I just need a guy who's good at crafting. Who's good at helping me do things? Lavander technically is. I'm not a big Lavander person. They just look funny. They give me the ick. A couple things that give me the ick. Lavander and Lavander. That's it. Let's see here. What do we have? You know what? We wasted all this time now. Let's just go take our little handy-dandy Tansy in here. And let's put him to work. This will give him some levels. This will make my heart happy. Attaboy. And this will waste enough time for this egg to be done. So here in a minute and 45 seconds, let's help this guy build. And we'll go check that egg out. And our last sphere is acquired. Our Tansy is leveled up a little bit. I think he gained a new trait, which is pretty cool. And our egg is ready to go. Fingers crossed that we get ourselves a fully combined Tansy. Wait for it, wait for it. See, and we got a bad stat. We got Pacifist 3. Really unfortunate. That makes him a really bad fighter. And so, which is really funny that ended up working that way. We got a great guy here and a pretty great one here. And for us to get that Tansy out of all of that is pretty incredible. So I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to replace this guy by just pulling him out and putting him back in. That'll put him to work. But we're going to head over and find ourselves some Gora rats. And I do believe that they spawn here, I think beyond Gobbin's Turf. If I remember right, they're all over in this area. We're going to head here, though, because these Gobfins are absolutely treacherous. So let's head over here. I don't have a good party set up for us to battle anything, other than the fact that we do our highest level thing we have is our Nightwing. Let us head over in this early direction. Am I heading the right direction? Kind of. This way. Yes, this way. All of the Gora rats are in these tall mountains here, or mountainous areas. And hopefully we can find ourselves some. Let me switch over to standard eggs. We've got some syndicate guys. Not really concerned with that. Let me go ahead and fly around a little bit, see if we can find ourselves a Tansy, and I'll meet you guys back. Oh my goodness. And maybe like a power bomb? Oh no. Okay, that's not the way that's supposed to work, but we got the honey that we were looking for. I wanted to tame some of these guys to get the honey. I don't know how to keep them from exploding. If anybody's got any ideas, put them down in the comments down below, because we're still learning the game just as much as you are. Okay, sir, you just activated a very angry bird. Okay, he's fast. He's not as fast as me, though. Don't get hit by that. One more shot. He's been grasped. 20% chance. 20% chance. That's better than nothing. We just can't get hit by too many of these abilities that he has. I'm hoping this is the good one. The last one wasn't the greatest, so let's fingers crossed here that he doesn't waste all of the spheres we just made. Appears he's gonna waste all of the spheres we just made. Wow, that one hurt. May this be the one? It will not be the one. Come on, you cheeky bastard. If he escapes this one, I'm going gold. Going gold, baby. Wasting gold, baby. It is a 40% chance of the gold sphere. Please, please, please capture. Let's go. Took one wasted sphere, but we got Hydromaniac. I believe that makes him less vulnerable to water damage, perhaps, but I do see a hidden verdant egg. We gotta make sure we keep track of all these eggs, and we have a Mossanda, level 28. Now that's getting a little out of my wheelhouse, so I do know I have limits, some boundaries, and that's definitely one of them. So we're going to avoid that. That's a little high, but maybe, just maybe, we can find a few more pairs of Gora rats, because I really like to get a good one. If not, if all else fails, we are going to go back and we are going to do the combination breeding. And we've got some new honey now, so we have the ability to do so. There we go. We're looking a little low, so we're going to gauge this guy's health. Now let's get into battle. Oh my goodness, it took 6 gold spheres to catch that guy, and he got conceded. I'm not even sure if that's a good statistic to have, but we got him. We shouldn't complain. We have him locked in. He's in the bag, and he's another breedable Gora rat. We're on the hunt for a few more Gora rats, and then I'll meet you guys back at base when I've maybe gathered a couple more. Oh my goodness, I was out prowling the nights, and I found myself a new Tansy. It is a shining Tansy. These are the best versions of any PAL that you can find, usually having better statistics, and this one only came out with a lucky, which is always what the lucky ones get, or the shining features get. But I think that's going to go a long ways, because now it is going to be a bigger Tansy when it's bred up. But I am out here because I think, since we couldn't find any more Gora rats, I went around and caught a couple more, and they all have pretty bad stats. But we do know, based on what we just read, that a Fuddler and a Celeray will make a Gora rat in the breeding chamber. So we've got a Fuddler that has okay statistics. It's kind of a plain one, but if we can get ourselves a Celeray, we can definitely increase everything. So I'm not even gonna hurt these guys, because they're probably just gonna. Well, I can give them a couple pokes, but I think if I hit them while they're asleep, they might just die. So we're gonna come out here. We're gonna be very careful and very intentional with our moves. Got another one there with Pacifist. We don't like that. But if we can just obtain a couple of these guys, we may be able to get a good combination to mix the two together. So let me catch a few Celerays, and I'll meet you guys back at base. Oh my goodness, we are out on our Manta Ray, or our Celeray expedition, and I see another shining Tansy opportunity. We're going to take this guy down before heading back, but I've made a couple captures, and I'm actually not really impressed with the amount of good statistics we've gotten, and so we're gonna breed two together and see what happens. Unlike Ark or any other survival game, it does seem like, oh, you get ancient parts, you're catching shinings. That's really interesting. But it does seem like, unlike Ark, the attributes that you breed for, so say one has logging, one has mining, you combine the two together, you're not guaranteed to get logging and mining, you just kind of get a random roll. So let's head on back to base, and let's check out what we've got. Alright, now that we are here, we can quickly go through, and let's go ahead and sort these guys by PAL deck number. Let's go back to the beginning. Here's our two new shining tansies, both with a lucky, but one of them has hooligan, and heated bodies fine, increases or decreases incoming ice damage, but this is a work speed deduction, and so this tansy right here, not really all that important, unfortunately, but that is not what we're here to do. We are here to find our best Celeray. We captured 10 to max out your 10 bonus XP Celerays. We've got a Vanguard, which is for player attack, and this is going to be a base guy, so if we get something that looks like is a good base opportunity, we got Vanguard again. Burly body, I think this is an increase to defense, absolutely. We've got a diet lover, so he won't eat as much, and that's just about it. So it really does seem like Vanguard might be our only opportunity. That's if we want to use him as a companion. What I'm thinking about doing, let's go ahead and just start with diet lover. If we can get this guy to like a diet, come here, let's pick him up. He won't eat as much in the base, which would be great. It's not important, and it's not the, it's not what I anticipated using, but we're gonna stick with it. We've got him in there. Is he working? Yes, as the female. Now, I hadn't considered that until now, but is also a female. Well, we've got a problem. We've got 2 females. We need a male Celeray, unfortunately. We'll leave her in there. She's good to go. Let's go ahead and get a male Celeray. This may determine Vanguard. It may do, or it may be something junky. We don't know what we're going to get yet, so let's check. Our Vanguards are female and male. There it is. We're going with this guy. We're going to replace him, We're going to grab him and take him over here to be bred with our Fuddler, and fingers crossed, who knows? We are using an external source in order to see if this is compatible. Looks like the breeding bar is going up, so that's a good sign. It's always a good sign that the breeding's working. We've got a random mammoth just showing over here. Let's make sure we got some cake. This is vital, and this is why we went and got the honey in the first place, was the only way to breed is cake. Well, while we're here, let's go ahead and check out what we got in our egg. I think one of these ought to be ready, and it is the verdant egg. Hopefully something new and exciting. We got a lift monk, but we got a pretty good lift monk, so that's pretty exciting. We've got another common egg. We'll pump that in there, and here in about 20-ish minutes, we'll have 2 eggs to hatch. The large one hopefully being something that we don't already have. That'll be exciting. We are 1 effigy short of a level up for our capture effectiveness. And I think, let's go ahead and hit up the auto farm area. Look at all the money and all of the PAL spheres. Holy cow. These mouse or these cats do phenomenal. And I believe there should be a bunch in here as well. Not as much as I anticipated, but there is some regardless. Everything else looks good. We've got to sort everything else out of our inventory. Little inventory management, little cleanup. And heck, why not? Let's go ahead and just eat a couple bits of food here just to get rid of our inventory. You are limited to inventory. It is the one complaint they have with this game. You obviously have a max capacity of 6 by 7 of 42 slots. No questions asked. So that's unfortunate, but we can figure out what to do with that later. Yeah, we're just kind of waiting. We're kind of on a standstill. We've got pals without beds. Excuse me. That seems like a problem. Let's go ahead and solve that. Can we get a squishy bed? Can't get a squishy bed. We'll go with the regular bed. They can deal with it. They don't need squishy beds. You don't need the Tempur-Pedic. The standard bed will do. And we should be able to line that up with that one like so. We'll go ahead and build this. We're going to have everybody come over and help, which is fantastic. That's so fast. But that should satisfy everybody's needs. And, while we're here... okay, so these are the 2 advancements we haven't done yet, and that is advancing into the electrical things. I have no idea how to do that, and so we're going to avoid that at the moment. Gosh, we still have some time left. You are not allowed to come to my base, pal. You should not. Yeah, no, please no. Or do, whatever. I wait for no eggs to hatch, so I'm going to go ahead and create 2 new incubators so we can ramp up our egg hatching production. We've got this verdant egg that we found while finding gore rats, but then we also have our large common egg. That's going to be 40 minutes of wait time. We've got an egg incubation complete over here. And we got a Ectherier. You know what? These are the stags. I'm going to forever call them stags. That is way too difficult to try to understand what that says. But we now should have another egg close, about halfway there. We are going to wait out this process about 40 minutes. I might do some things around the base here. I may not. I may just go AFK. But I will see you guys back here in approximately 39 minutes and 20 seconds. Oh my goodness, I just returned after exchanging out our other pals for a Tombat and a Surfant, and a Pingulate, wondering what it would get us, and we now have a huge Verdant egg. Now, we're not going to have the time to wait for this because we also still don't have the time to finish the ones that we already have, but we did find this one. This is one of the ones that we found in the wild, nothing that we bred up, and we got our Agora Rat. Actually, we may have... That might have been our first one. And we got the power of a Gia. Not sure what that is. This is another Agora Rat egg, but I really, really, really want to see this Verdant egg through. So I'm going to put it in there. We don't have an hour, but we'll come back here in about 7 minutes. Or I'm going to take this 7 minutes to hopefully teach you guys a little bit about, as we're kind of ending the episode, a little bit about a broad overview of the breeding, taming and breeding process. So let's start by setting a foundation. The ability to breed officially unlocks at level 19. However, there are some things that you can do right off the bat. So if you're watching this video and you're preparing and you know you're going to want to get into the breeding, this part is for you. The first thing you want to do is catch as many pals as possible. Now, I know you may be asking yourself, yeah, but aren't we limited? You are. Technically, in the PAL deck, you do have, or the PAL box over there, you do have a maximum amount of slots. Now, I'm going to tell you, personally, I have been through what feels like hundreds of pals, and I still have not filled it up. You're also going to get a lot of negative attributes. You're going to get a lot of glutton. You're going to get downtrodden. You're going to get some bad things that you're going to want to get rid of, and you can take them and sell them to a merchant, or you can use it later down the road when we combine the skills together to level up our pals. So basically, all you're going to do is look out for any good pals at any level, and you're going to have, as long as they have a gold trait, which is a 2 or 3 stat, so Mining Foreman 3 is the best you can get. There's some other ones that max out at 2, but anything with a gold stat is absolutely out of the park. Great, go for it, good for you. I would also recommend catching a lot of Nightwings and Sweepas, and we're going to use this little tidbit of information later on down the line when I get into the combinations. Now, this is something I have learned recently. I haven't put into practice, so don't quote me maybe. It may even change, but this is the way I understood it when I read it the first time. Another thing you need to do is set up a proper base. Now, I'm not saying this base is proper, but I'm saying it's functional. We like functional around here. There are many guides you can probably find online for good base locations. You also will probably unlock a second base during your time setting this up, running around, catching pals as you level up. The second base, which we're going to get into next episode, I promise, next episode is going to be all about building a base. So we will touch on that. But you're not only going to want to do that, you're also going to want to get a lot of berries, wheat, flour, milk, things like that. The faster you can get those resources, the better. I did not get mine till way late. Obviously, I'm playing this as a Let's Play series and as an informational guide, so it does take a little bit longer. But what you're going to want to do is we're going to want to get a chicken, a chickpea, and that does seem pretty rudimentary. They're the first thing you're going to see when you walk into the game. And so get yourself a chicken. You're going to need the eggs as a binder for your cake. The next thing you're going to want to do is also get a cow, which is a little harder to get. I found a lot of cows, if you really want to know, around Azure Robe over here. So if you can get to the ravine entrance, the cows seem to kind of spawn up in this region. You're also going to want to get wheat, which you get by, I think I got it by killing a Bristilla, some of the other flower types. And unfortunately, those guys are mainly up in this region. At the Twin Knights Bridge, very similar to the cows, but those are about level 20. But you don't even get the breeding paddocks unlocked until 19, so maybe that's right up the playthrough. And again, catching pals, as long as you get the first 10 of every kind as you go through, like get 10 chickens, get 10 cows, you are going to level up super fast. The last thing you're going to need, and it's the one that I struggle with the most, is the bees, the bee guards and the Elizabeths. Now, these I have not successfully attained myself, but you can fly around the region, get some verdant eggs, and hatch them, and one of them will likely have an Elizabeth. You can also take out the Cinnamoths. They also get you honey when you kill them, but the Elizabeths are the only ones that you can put into the farming, or the PAL farming thing. Let me see what that's called. Into the ranch. I knew what I was going for there. And they'll automatically give you honey by just being alive, unfortunately. Or fortunately. Lastly, you're going to want to kill as many of the bosses of your level. The Chillet is the first one. I guess we can go through them on the map here. You're going to want to kill this Chillet over and over and over. The better you can get, the better statistically you can get one with the best attributes, the better. Pen King, and then you're probably going to head over and take on Azure Robe. You might go back over and take on Grimtail, which, ooh, I haven't taken on Grimtail in this series yet. Grimtail is somewhere over in this, somewhere over in this region, I thought. Right over in here. He's a level 17, same as Azure Robe. And so you just want to keep doing this over and over. Every time you get on, I recommend you can pretty much fast travel right to these things. Head here, fight them, capture them. Whatever you're going to do, you're going to get ancient parts, you're going to get tradables, you're going to get unlocks. But first and foremost, you're going to get, if you capture them, better pals. And when breeding these guys, they do provide very useful pals. Obviously, the higher level, the harder the difficulty, the better the reward. Now, as for traits and attributes, those are the things located. Let me go ahead and take you on over here. Those are located on your passive skills and such here. So you have your passive skills, you have your attributes, which is your work suitability. It's called attributes, it's just easier. And some of the things you're going to want to do when you're catching tons of pals is look for specialization. Are you going to use this as a mount? Are you going to use this for combat, or are you going to use this in your base? Now, if you're going to use it for combat, you're going to want Ferocious, you're going to want Musclehead. Those are going to give it really high attack power, but their work suitability is going to degrade. Now, we know, yeah, does that sound pretty bad for base building? Absolutely, but you kind of want to have different pals for base work and fighting. If you're also, so I guess related to that, it's going to be a drawback on the work speed, but if you're using fighting, this is going to provide about a 30% attack, and then Ferocious at 20%. Burly Body also divides defense. There's just many different ways you can mix and min-max these. Whoa. So yeah, Ferocious, Musclehead, Burly Body, great. Awesome. Let's go with these. For speed, you're going to want to look out for Runner and Swift. Now, those provide 30 and 20% movement speed, respectively. Nimble also provides 10, I believe. But unless you're gunning the fastest mount in the game, 10% is not really palatable. And now the last thing is legendary perks. Unless you have a stacked team of pals and you're around level 45, we're not worried about these as much. But related to this is the lucky trait, from what I understand. It gives you 50% attack and work speed. Those are your shining pals that get lucky. And yeah, so that's kind of overall the best things you can get. So combat, you got Ferocious, Musclehead, and Burly Body. That gives them good defense and good attack power. And then you want none of that when you're making a base pal. And then for speed, Swift and Runner. That'll do pretty much it. It gives the player speed and it gives the pal speed, which is great. That's for your Nightwing or your Vanworm, your Direwolf, whatever you're riding. That'll be very helpful. Now, let's actually get into the idea behind breeding. And I'm just going to briefly skim the surface. There's so much more that you can probably learn online in different forums and just trial and error. Trial and error. That's the best kind of learning. And so yeah, let me just go ahead and skim through some of the basic stuff. You're going to need an egg incubator. We know that. You're going to need a breeding ranch or whatever that thing's called. We got one of those. And you're going to need cake. Now don't ask me why. No idea. Why is cake? Who knows? I don't know where that stems from, but it's a relatively simple recipe. You get berries. I guess I've repeated this a million times, but you got berries, you got flour, you got eggs, milk, and honey. If you have followed my tutorial or the part that I began with, the simple foundations, you should have already had these guys way back when, and you should have a surplus of each one of these resources. If you don't, you're going to have to go do it. It's 2 honey. That's a pain in the butt. That's probably the hardest one, so maybe do that one. Not first. It's not possible first, but as soon as possible. Yeah, you can get it from also just defeating the bee guards in the war sect, things like that. The war sect level 30. I understand that's a little more difficult, so I think the egg hatching is the best way. You just got to fly around, see if you can find some, and maybe you get lucky. Maybe you stumble into a fight between some of the humanoid figures on the map that attack all these pals. You jump in, you get the last shot, you pick up the honey, you run away. So there's another way to do that. So the first thing you want to do is you're going to want to pick a synergistic combo of traits. So you probably want Ferocious and Musclehead together. If you can get pals that already have the 2 together, you can work on adding other things. If you want to get something that has just Ferocious and just Musclehead, combining the 2 together, I think there's a percentage where it's like 9 times out of 10 they do get the combination. I think there's also a random RNG, kind of a random numerical generation that you can get some bad traits. Unfortunately, that's why you do these things more than once. Which reminds me, let's head over and see if we've got... Yes, they're done. We'll get to those in just one moment. And so it seems pretty straightforward, and it is. It's not super super terrible, but it's going to take some renditions. It's going to take some trial and error. It's going to take multiple breeding sessions. As you just saw, we just tried to make a Gora rat, and it didn't work out in our favor. But that's not bad. That's not bad. We got that one out of the way. It's done with. We move on. Let's go ahead and hatch our second one, and we'll make. Hopefully, we can prove that this is a high percentage chance of happening. And there it is. We got our Vanguard. We got our Waterproof. That is the combination that we have with the guys that we were given. It's not what we want. It's not what's going to be helpful for the base. But it's what we got. So we're not going to complain about it. We've got another one here. We're going to start processing as well. And I think this is the one that we found in the world, right? I do believe so. Is this something we purposely did? No, that's the one that we randomly found. We got a Robin Quilt. Kind of one of the coolest ones I've seen. And we got a large common egg here, so we'll wait for that one as well. While we continue our little speech here. And I think breeding farm, that's what it's called. Okay, so moving on, our other things that we need to probably touch on. And you know what, again, I don't really know much about this. Oh my goodness, all these words all over my face. Oh, and I just pulled my guy in. Hopefully that's okay. I guess he was done. Yeah, he was done. Okay, let me go over here and check real quick and make sure these guys don't need some help. And by help, I mean I'm just going to put some food in here. You guys need some energy? Yep, I knew. The minute I put this in, that was going to happen. Let's pick up that egg, and let's head over and place it in the incubator. So that can go ahead and cook down, and I can hatch it next time. Set egg. Perfect. Another hour. We're not staying up for another hour. We're not going to continue on that level. But we can continue on with our general conversation. So basically, every PAL has assigned an arbitrary power level. Generally, the strongest and rarest pals have a number closer to 1, and the weaker ones are closer to like 1,500, I think. And breeding this takes the average of the 2 parents and assigns the number with the pal to the closest number to that. So if that doesn't make sense, if you have like a 100 and a 50, it's going to average them to about a 75, which is going to give it a random roll of statistics based on that and whether or not it grabs which attribute from which parent. And so a lower breeding rank in higher rarity, in theory, if you had a PAL with a low breeding power, but optimal traits, you could easily breed it with a high breeding power PAL and reach the desired outcome. If that makes sense, I hope it does. That's as simple as I can make it. And that is where we come into the final part. If you remember way back in the beginning, I said keep track of all of those pesky Nightwings and Sweepas, and that is because there is an ultimate spot, a sweet spot, if you will, when it comes to breeding these things. If you want to optimize... Oh, tangent. We're going to head over here and hatch our next egg. Ooh, another Vanguard Gora Rat. Awesome, and I don't think we have any backup eggs. Not a big deal. There will be one more coming up here shortly. But back to what I was saying, this is where the Nightwings come in, and the Sweepas. I think it's Sweepa Nightwing or Nightwing. I can't remember the other guy. The end game pal, like the pal of all pals. And I know you've probably seen it. You've probably traveled the world. You've probably made your way up and accidentally traveled down. I believe it is. You really can't believe I haven't discovered the lava place yet on this map or this playthrough, but right up in here, there's a lava pit and there's a rib cage. If you go in this rib cage, you are going to see Jormuntide. Jormuntide is the in-game pal, the mighty water dragon who can destroy your enemies in a torrent of water. You may see the boss counter with wild. He's level 45. Remember, guys, 50 is max level as of now, so that's pretty dang good. Now, you may be asking, what does the Jormuntide have to do with Nightwings and Sweepas? Well, this is a breeding tutorial, so you know exactly what's coming up next, and that is because the two combined together create the Jormuntide. I know it doesn't make any sense, and I'm also still myself trying to figure out how that works, how a bird and a blob of wool make a giant sea serpent, but somehow they do? Question mark? The other option, I think, is Nightwing Grizzbolt. Now, that makes sense. Grizzbolt, he's electric type. He's a big hamster-looking thing with the lightning bolts. I don't know. I don't know how to explain it. I'm not here to explain the ins and outs, but if you watch your Giga Chad Jormuntide or you want him, you're going to have these guys ready to breed when you get to this point. Now, this does kind of skip past a lot of the fun of the game and learning the mechanics and encountering these pals in the wild, but if you want something overpowered as fast as you can, now I say as fast as you can, this is probably still going to be mid-20s, about what we're at now. We could probably have a Jormuntide now if we were paying attention, and if we knew all these tricks before. Without further ado, that's going to end my brief tutorial. We can do a quick Spark Notes version. If you know what Spark Notes is, that's just a bullet point of the overall summary. Collect as many pals as you can as early as possible. You're looking for the gold traits. You're looking for all the green, or the gold up arrows, none of the red down arrows. You want to get as many pals as fast as possible. I know it's going to seem redundant and it's going to be silly, but believe me, it'll pay off in the end game. You're going to want to get a chicken, a cow, some sort of honey resource. You got to have a wheat farm and you got to have a berry farm. You get all those things, you got what you need to breed. When 19 comes around, level 19, which is going to come really quickly if you're capturing 10 of all these, or even 10 plus of all these other pals, you're going to get the breeding farm. You're going to take the breeding farm and you're going to mix all those things you had together in a cooking pot, and you're going to make yourself a nice old piece of berry cake, a good old slice of berry cake. You're going to put that in the breeding farm. You're going to breed your pals together and you're going to get some better pals. Don't worry about recessive traits or recursive breeding, anything like that. You just want to focus on what you want to have your pal for. Is it combat? Is it base? Is it player efficiency with the mining and logging? Or is it just movement? Combine your guys like that. You're going to have to find what works for you, what you like, and quite frankly, like me breeding tansies, it seems super silly, but for me, it is so much fun because they are adorable, and, you know, I'm a monkey guy. What can I say? I'm a primate guy. So they've got my heart. They've got my vote for sure. They don't probably do anything in the base, but having one as special as this guy right here is pretty incredible. If I remember right, this guy has mining, logging, Sirius, which is more work speed, and Zen Mind, which is just a little bit of attack. But this is probably my favorite pal I have. Hopefully that's replaced with the good Gora Rat once I get one, but we'll have to see in due time. All right, that's going to bring us to an end, but look at that. Standing here AFK, we gained another level. Let's go. What did we unlock before we get out of here? We got ourselves the Giga Shield, the assembly line, a stump axe, which increases their proficiency, and some decorations. Who doesn't like decorations? That's going to do it for us today. I appreciate you all for coming and hanging out. And don't forget while you're hanging out to hit that subscribe button, give this video a like, share with your friends, and leave some kind words in the comments down below. I know this one was a little bit different than we usually do, and we had a little more interaction or a little more word vomit where we introduced, oh no, we have a raid. I'm going to go ahead and just bounce out of here. I don't want to deal with that. Let's be real honest. All right. Thank you guys for coming and hanging out with me. Let me know what you thought about the episode. If you like the more informative reactions or the more informative speech is versus the Let's Play or the combination of the two. I think this is a good combination. So if you liked that, give this video a thumbs up. If you didn't, let me know in the comments down below if you wanted to see a Let's Play or if you would like a shorter and more descriptive series of how to play PalWorld. As always, stay beautiful, and I'll catch you guys in the next episode. Peace out.